girl the whole day. And look, when I did the CNN documentary on the Latino vote, I remember sitting down with a young man named Emmanuel who told me exactly this story, who told me that when Trump became president in 2016, he was in high school and he got called a dirty wetback. And he told me this through tears. And he had not been able to tell his mother. She was hearing it for the first time as he was telling me. And this is happening all over America because of what has been unleashed, because of the portrayal of Latinos in particular and immigrants as criminals and as bad people. The TPS holders, the Venezuelans, as if they're all part of Tren de Aragua. They don't even know how to say Tren de Aragua, so now they call it TDA. There are kids being bullied. There are kids being targeted. And there are kids who are terrified that their parents, U.S. citizen kids, terrified today that their parents are going to be taken away, that they're going to go home, and the home is going to be empty. And so that is what has been unleashed on America.
And we don't know all the details here about what happened. We don't even know her parents' immigration status, but that's it's almost like beside the point.
Right. I mean, at this point, will her mom go on TV and say, yes, I am undocumented, knowing what's happening to people when they go on TV and then they get picked up by ICE? But yeah, this is still under investigation. It's being investigated by the school police. And what the mom told CNN is that the girl committed suicide after she was being relentlessly bullied and taunted at school about the family's immigration status. Kids saying to her, we're going to call ICE. They're going to come to your house. They're going to pick up your parents. You're going to stay alone. And the worst part about it is that she says that she didn't even know that this was happening. The girl was getting counseling at school where she was reporting the bullying. The school apparently was aware of it. But she said that she only learned about it from investigators. So she's saying, you know, maybe I could have done something. I didn't notice any signs in my daughter that she was going through this situation. But if the school had said to me, you know, she's being bullied about this, maybe she could have done something. And that's what's even more heartbreaking about this story. There was a funeral for her today where even her schoolmates showed up, and she was just remembered as a happy, joyous girl.
This is every parent's nightmare, just on a human level. But we're just at a moment where we have to talk about this because there are 4.4 million American children, U.S. citizen children, who are born with an undocumented parent. And what happens to them?
It's sad, to be honest, Abby. It's horrible to have an 11-year-old girl suicide herself over bullying. Bullying is real. And obviously, you know, they didn't catch it in time, or she didn't report it on time, or I don't know what it was. But the fact of the matter here is we have a system that's broken, and people are making fun of someone's parents and caused her to kill herself. That is horrible.
But
Nobody wants
There's something happening. I just want to show this because I think, and I'll let you jump in. The other part of this is that obviously deportations happen every day in this country under Democratic and Republican administrations. People who break the law, who are criminals, should be sent back or deported or jailed or whatever it is. But there's something happening also with this administration making light of the whole situation. This was a Valentine's Day post from the White House official account. Roses are red, violets are blue. Come here illegally and we'll deport you. And then another post on social media saying ASMR. This is sort of like social media slang for kind of like a sensory experience of illegal alien deportation flight. That's what the caption was. And the operative image here is the chains. You see them there. So look, again, it's not a question of should criminals be deported, but the idea of kind of celebrating this as something that is almost like with a thrill down your spine, I think.
I mean, there's a level of cruelty.
This little girl's parents were not criminals.
No.
Yeah.
That has and there's a level of dehumanization and cruelty built into all of this that I think trickles down to average Americans, where they're not feeling empathy for 11-year-old girls when they're relentlessly bullying them. And it's almost become a thing where, like, threatening to call ICE on people is like a game to just further victimize these communities that are already living in paralyzing fear and anxiety. And we've seen cases like this happening just in the last few days, a pizza shop manager being fired for threatening to call ICE on his own customers, a teacher who made posts about, encouraging people to report his undocumented students. And that's having an effect. When you talk about policy and numbers of arrests, of deportations, there's people behind that. There's families behind that. And there's a real psychological and emotional effect there that we also have to talk about.
Yeah.
What is so painful about this is that this was as predictable as it is tragic. This didn't happen by accident. I mean, when you have the leader of the free world who's now saying that I'm a king, basically using every ounce of his breath and deputizing people to call people that don't look like us rapists, robbers, murderers, or they're criminals. And are they violent criminals? Are they part of gangs? Or are these just mom and dads that came over here or that have been here before? Is it really any surprise that they're getting vilified in the communities that they live in? I promise you that there are little girls and boys that are in their corner of their bedrooms wondering whether or not ICE is going to break into the house and take their mom and dad away. And when Tom Homan, who's running this whole operation, sits in these seats, and you say to him, Tom, can you please help me work through this? Let's say I'm the mayor of New Orleans. I want to help you get rid of all the violent criminals. You want to get rid of somebody that's violent on my street? I'm 100% in. Let's go get them. But are you going to go take grandma and grandpa and Tia? And you're going to, I'm just going to say if they're kind of around, they're going to go. That sends shockwaves. And so what I'd say, look, we have a broken immigration system. It's been broken for a long time. Ronald Reagan actually gave the best speech about this on the last speech that he gave of his presidency. Donald Trump's got the pen. If he's so powerful and he's so tough and he's so smart, why doesn't he just ink out an immigration proposal that, by the way, we wanted to pass a couple years ago that he said, we don't want to do this. We can be tough and smart. But Americans don't want to be cruel. And you're seeing the consequence of a cruelty now that's going to have disastrous effects for kids.
Yeah, first of all, it's very, very tragic. I mean, I have a young child, 2 young kids, and you always live in the fear of the outside influences, how they're going to affect them. And so as parents, me and my wife, we constantly think about that. And so we obviously hurt for the family, what they go through. But, listen, I have a Mexican mom. I have a Bolivian dad. I grew up in East Los Angeles. We've always lived under the fear of La Migra coming to our neighborhoods. That has always been, that was during Reagan, that was during Clinton, that was during Bush. That has always been there.
True.
So I think we sort of weaken our argument when we just try to tie it to Trump directly.
Well, but you haven't had a president. You have not had a president like Trump use the language that he's used as aggressively as he's used it amongst. You can name every one of those presidents. You're right, Bush, Reagan, and all of them spoke
none of them
in
got
different
more
ways.
Latino votes than Donald J. Trump did.
That's
either.
true, but that doesn't make it right.
Got more votes than
that
Donald J.
doesn't make
Trump.
less cruel.
We don't have a lot of time, but Brian, what you just said, it struck me because you grew up understanding what that sense was
Every
like
day.
and the lack of differentiation between hardworking immigrants, maybe some of them are undocumented, but they're not criminals, and people who are. What do you think about the lack of distinction that is being made between those groups of people right now?
Listen, I think where we are today, Abel and I, we grew up in almost the same neighborhood. And where we are today is the workers, the people who are coming here now are much different than the illegal immigrants that came in the 2000s, that came in the 90s. They were sort of more of family unification. They came here for the hard work. The ones that are coming now, some of them are hard workers, but it's the pace that they've come in has become a problem. They've become a problem with the Latino community. Abel's right. Latino vote did really well with the Republican Party for the first time because President Trump is addressing these things. There are those people who come to this country who play by the rules, who wait in line. My father waited in line. Your father worked the fields till he was able to get his visa. There's a process that worked, and I think the frustration that Republicans have is that just because Donald Trump said we need to build a wall, something by the way Hillary has said too, we need to build a barrier. Now we have this adverse reaction to everything Trump
Look,
gets.
no other
credibility.
president has relished in the cruelty and been as vocal about it. There's always been a level of compassion shown, Republicans and Democrats. George W. Bush was the compassionate conservative. Donald Trump is showing absolutely no compassion. He is showing no distinction. He is relishing in the cruelty as the people that he has delegated to do this. And they are, and part of it is precisely with the purpose of instilling fear in the immigrant community so that they leave of their own accord. And I'll tell you this, I know a hell of a lot of Venezuelans in Miami right now who are really regretting their vote for Trump because he is lifting temporary protective status of the hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans who fled Maduro.